What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here, and in 2024, the UFC has had a great year, and hopefully 2025 is an even better year. And I think that there are a few things that the UFC could do to make 2025 an even better year. And today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I think the UFC needs to do to continue with their success. With all that being said, let's get into the first thing that I think the UFC needs to do in 2025. At this point, I don't really want to see Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. I feel like that's not as competitive as Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. And Jon Jones has already ducked Francis Ngannou for the longest time. And we never got to see that. And I think that this time we can't make the same mistake. We have to see this fight. I think it's a truly 50-50 fight. I think that Jon Jones can definitely beat Tom Aspinall. But I can also see Tom Aspinall beating Jon Jones. And I feel like that would be a massive fight. A lot of fans want to see it. And it would be a super fight. We didn't really get too many of those in 2024, but we can in 2025. So Dana White, make this fight happen. The next thing the UFC needs to do in 2025 is so the UFC had 3 champions, and unfortunately they weren't able to make fights in Africa. And now you have another African champion in Dricus Du Plessis, and I think he's going to beat Sean Strickland, and his next fight should be in Africa against Khamzat Chimaev. I've heard that Khamzat can't come into the United States. Maybe he can go to Africa, and I think that could be a very, very solid main event. And then in the co-main event, you could have Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland 2. Then you can maybe have a feature fight, maybe Kamaru Usman fights, maybe Joaquin Buckley, and then you can just build off the card with other African fighters. And I feel like that would just be very exciting. And maybe you can start going around South Africa first, maybe Senegal, maybe Cameroon, who knows, just all over the place. It would just be very exciting and a new market of fans. But moving on to the next thing that I think the UFC needs to do, which is going to be I feel like every year it's the same thing with the judges. It seems like they don't really know what they're doing. A lot of the times it seems like they don't know what they're watching, and they can screw up some fighters. I mean, this year arguably Volkov got robbed versus Cyril Gane. I think Steve Erzak got robbed versus Pantoja. And then one judge thought that Sean Strickland lost to Paulo Costa. And I don't know. I think that some of these judges need some education on the sport. Maybe they need a Neuralink. I don't know. But you just gotta make sure everyone knows the judging criteria. Make sure they judge the fights the same way. Don't reward one guy for control time and then have another judge not reward that person for control time or whatever nonsense. And another robbery arguably is like Jose Aldo versus Mario Batista. Isn't the judging based on damage? Like, I don't know what the hell is going on, but these judges need some fixing, because we cannot go into another year where we're gonna see more robberies and more nonsense decisions. Like, no one wants to see that. So UFC, Dana White, fix this right now. Moving on to another thing the UFC needs to do in 25, and that's gonna be I think that this is one of the worst things that has been happening in the UFC, and I think it needs to stop this 2025, this coming year. Because why is Chito Vera getting a title shot on a 1-fight win streak when he just got dominated by Corey Sandhagen? He literally was a punching bag for Sean O'Malley for 5 rounds. Why is he getting a title shot? He's not really that big of a star. It doesn't make sense. Like, Corey Sandhagen, yes, he was injured, but if you made Merab versus O'Malley in March, then you can have Corey Sandhagen fight the winner in September, and he doesn't have to fight Umar Nurmagomedov in August. But instead, they just basically screwed Corey Sandhagen over, because Corey Sandhagen, him and Merab were both #1 contenders, and they both deserved title shots. But Corey Sandhagen got screwed just because Chito Vera got an undeserved title shot. I mean, like, come on. And why would you book Cejudo versus Merab? Book Cejudo versus Chito instead, and then Merab versus O'Malley in March. And then you have Kaya Sakura making his UFC debut and getting a title shot right away, and he gets destroyed by Pantoja. Yes, I did say that Kaya Sakura was going to knock out Pantoja, but looking back, like, I don't know why this guy really got a title shot. I mean, Kai France did in 2 rounds what Pantoja couldn't do in 5 rounds to Steve Verzeg, and that was in August. And there's plenty of time between August and December, so the UFC should have made Kai France versus Pantoja instead of wasting Kai France's prime. And in 2023, the UFC wasted Bilal Muhammad's prime by not giving him a title shot and giving it to Kobe and making that weight class just completely inactive. If Leon Edwards fought Bilal Muhammad in December of 2023, we would have had more welterweight title fights. But instead, you just get welterweights fighting once a year because of guys like Kobe Covington getting undeserved title shots. But moving on to the last thing I think the UFC needs to do in 2025, and that's going to be Turki Al-Sheikh has made some boxing cards this year that were better than UFC cards, and it was $20. Literally $20. I mean, you had like the Bivol versus Better BF card for $20, and then you had to pay $90 for UFC 301. You had Usyk versus Fury 2 being $20. And in February, we have Bivol versus Better BF 2, which is an insane card. You have Daniel Dubois in there, you have Zhilei Zhang, you have Shakur Stevenson. Like, you just got a whole bunch of top-level boxers for $20, a more stacked card than most recent UFC pay-per-view cards. And the UFC sells their fights for like $90, $80. Like, that is crazy. You gotta drop the prices, because Turki Al-Sheikh, not only is he not making you pay that much for pay-per-view, but he's paying the boxers even more money than the UFC is. So what the hell is going on? But if Dana doesn't do this, I think another alternative that he can do, which was an idea that I found from Martial Mind, is to give us more control over our pay-per-view that we purchase. Like, for example, you know how the UFC is able to get like multiple camera angles, and sometimes in the replays you see these sick camera angles that we don't get to see on the regular broadcast? Imagine if when you buy a pay-per-view, you can literally just watch it from this camera angle without like the regular, and then you can switch back to the regular like broadcast where they keep switching cameras. Like, sometimes you just want to watch the fights like this. So if it's $90, give us freedom. Let us mute the commentary. Like, on the Zone, when you buy a pay-per-view, you can literally listen to other commentators. You can listen to the Pain Game. By the way, those guys are hilarious whenever they have their reactions, and it's different than the regular like Shield commentators. And Turki Al-Sheikh was the one that made that possible, so I'm pretty sure the UFC can do that. Like, give us freedom over our pay-per-view, or you can even listen to Showbiz, It's all on the Zone when you buy the pay-per-view, so yeah, like, it's $20 and you can do all this stuff. But the UFC, you pay $90 and you basically can't do anything, so they gotta change it, or else we're just gonna keep on watching on Stream East.